Welcome to the latest episode of Manchester City's official podcast. I'm your host, Rob Pollard. Chloe Kelly was City's Player of the Year last season, but after scoring 2 goals in the penultimate match of the campaign against Birmingham, she suffered an ACL injury that saw her sidelined for the next 11 months. It's the injury every footballer dreads. Chloe decided to speak to us during Mental Health Awareness Week to discuss the challenges of dealing with such a long period away from the game, and opened up about the physical and mental difficulties that she faced.
So, Chloe, back. You've got a goal. You're back playing matches. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm enjoying myself, and I'm just looking forward to each game now. And once one game's finished, I just look forward to the next one. I feel like a kid playing football. I'm just enjoying myself.
How many times have you watched that goal over?
Yeah, a fair few times actually. I'm more watching Ellen's celebration because it just shows how far I've come from laying on the floor that day against Birmingham, and Ellen was comforting me and then celebrating my goal just as much as me. So yeah, it means a lot. It
was a long time coming. Did it feel as good as expected?
Yeah, it felt brilliant, and I think it settled me a little bit getting that goal and just I'm back. I feel myself. I feel good, and I know it's going to take a while for me to be back to my best, but I'm just enjoying myself, and you just appreciate football so much more when you've been away for so long.
It was a bit of a gift the way it came, but you still had to finish it, and you had to keep that cool head, and it would have been easy under that pressure to, overthink it really.
Yeah, of course. I think those ones are probably the most difficult when you have so much time. You probably have too much time thinking about it. But yeah, I kept my cool and just put it bottom corner. And I spoke to the goalkeeper coach before the game about how the goalkeeper sets. So yeah, it was great to just get the goal and settle me for the rest of the season now.
And obviously we have to be careful how you manage your sort of recovery. And he said it'll be a while till you're back to your best. But how are you actually feeling? You feel fit and confident again?
Yeah, I feel fit. I feel confident. I know that it's going to take a while till I feel 100% in myself. And that just takes training, minutes on the pitch. And I think the more I'm putting into training, I know I've done everything I can. So I don't worry about my knee anymore. I just want to be back out there playing and enjoying myself, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And yeah, the best is still yet to come from me. But I said that before my injury, that I wasn't at my best even then. So yeah, I always want more from myself, and I expect a lot from myself. So I can be hard sometimes on myself.
And when you look back to last May, when it happened, has it gone quick since then? Has it gone slow? I bet at times it felt like it was going slowly, but looking back now that it's over, how would you sort of reflect on that time?
Do you know what? Sometimes I think, it flew by, but when I break it down, it actually was a really tough journey. But because I set goals throughout I knew what my next goal was, and once I achieved that, I could see light. And I spent a lot of time away from the club at another rehab centre, which I think allowed me to just focus on myself. And if I was maybe here, it would have been more difficult because I could see how the girls are coming back enjoying training. And I think it just allowed me to focus on myself. And it was a long period of time, but it flew by. And I just think I always thought throughout there's always someone worse off than me. So yeah, my knee's sore, but there's always something worse going on in the world. So yeah, I think I just appreciate it so much more now I am back.
And in that moment, did you know straight away what the magnitude of the injury was?
To be honest, I didn't. I knew that my knee was bloody sore, but once I had the whistle, it was great. And yeah, I think it didn't maybe settle in as soon as I thought. I had the scan the next day to say what it was, but I just woke up the next day and couldn't bend my knee. But I thought, I'm not sore, I wasn't in pain. And yeah, once I found out the scan results, I just broke down in tears to Dr. Phil, who's been brilliant throughout my rehab, the doctor here. And he was so understanding. I was like, I don't know what to say. He was just like, call me back, whenever you're ready, which it allowed me to have time to speak to my family. And I just cried, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know what to do with myself. And yeah, it was such a difficult moment, but I needed to accept it. I couldn't change anything now. So yeah, it was such a difficult moment hearing those words that you've done your ACL, but it's not as hard as everyone thinks. That rehab journey, it is tough. There's tough moments throughout, but you learn so much about yourself. But the words ACL just scares everyone, but I don't get scared anymore. Like, I've overcome that, and I'm probably not the most strongest person in the world, but I've overcome it. So it's possible. But I think there's just like a whole like aura around ACL that is so scary and people can't overcome it. Yeah, you can. And like my agency, my agent, my family, my boyfriend, they all looked after me in that, and I didn't ever look at it as such a huge injury. It was just, it's an injury, and I've overcome. I had an ankle injury that I overcome. So yeah, I think the whole negativity around ACL injuries is just, yeah, it's an injury and you have to overcome it. So that's what I done. I didn't look at it as such a negative. It was, yeah, it's a chance for me to be better.
And it's the time frame, I think, that scares people, isn't it? Because you think, oh, it's going to be 9 months to a year, and that's a long time without. But it's in your career, it's only a small period, really. But you have to have that mature outlook, don't you? That it's just a small part of your journey.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the frustrating part for me. It's as soon as you do ACL, it's a 9 to 12 month injury. But there's been players that have been back sooner. So yeah, it's a 9 to 12 month injury, but why is it? Is it because that people say it is? Because I think that's the bit that maybe frustrates me. And when I was coming back, I was like, I'm ready, but it's like you have to hit certain targets or it's too soon. But why is it too soon? Is it because of, I don't know, maybe I challenge it a little bit more now, because there was a moment in my rehab where I thought I'd be back in 6 months, 7 months, and of course you listen to the professionals, and my surgeon played a big part in that. But yeah, he said my knee was ready, but it's all the factors around it being strong and things like that. But for me, it's like, I hate the time frame that goes with it, because everyone's so different, and it's what you put into the rehab that you get out of it. There was a few months where I had setbacks in my rehab, but if I didn't have those, I could have been back earlier. So the 9 to 12 months, it really frustrates me, because people could come back sooner, or they wait for that 9 months and say they're ready when their body isn't feeling it. And for me, it was, I'll be ready when I'm ready, and I'll know when I'm ready. And when I'm back on the pitch, I could be ready in my knee, but my talent isn't. I'm not ready to train with the girls. So yeah, I think it's just being accepting of everyone's so different. It could be 6 months for someone, but the whole ACL, it's always 9 to 12 months. And you see people say like halfway there. Well, no, you don't know when you're halfway there, because you could have a setback so close to being playing. So yeah, I think the dynamic around ACLs maybe is just so negative when it doesn't need to be. It's a challenge that you overcome.
You touched on the milestones. So what are those milestones through that injury process?
The first one is just like getting the swelling down and being ready for surgery. So I was lucky. I got my surgery within 10 days of doing my knee. Others maybe wait longer. So even that is, everyone's time frame so different. So I waited over a week for mine, and then it's, as soon as you have your surgery, you're on the game ready. You're learning how to extension, flexion, and everyone gets that back at different stages. So you're already doing exercises as soon as you wake up, really, from your surgery. And that moment was really difficult for me. I spent some time with my family back home, and at that moment in time, I didn't think I could overcome it. I'd just sit there and cry. I was in so much pain. I couldn't actually get out of bed myself. My boyfriend and my mom, they had to literally lift my leg and place it on the floor, because I couldn't do it myself. So you feel worthless at moments in that. And yeah, it's just about having the good people around you, and then it's learning how to walk. You obviously have two coming out of surgery, one getting down to one crutch, and then walking like your gait, and then you instantly think, when can I run? But there's smaller milestones in front of that, like your strength markers, like how you're moving. And I think I really focused on how I was moving so early on, and I did a lot of work with someone in America, Bill Knowles in America, and he really nailed in on the movement side of it. Then you focus on your strength after that, and then walking, running, and then back on the pitch. So yeah, I think everyone's journey is so different. So I think that was, for me, it was just accepting that I was on a different journey. And I spent a lot of my time with Lucy, who was doing her rehab at the same time. So yeah, we just pushed each other through that rehab, and the watt bike sessions, the boxing sessions, I can't punch at all. And yeah, it was a difficult moment, but you get each other through it. I obviously spent a lot of time with Lucy doing our rehab. Ezra spent a lot of time with KB doing hers. So as a group, you have that relationship with maybe someone who's doing your rehab with you, and you just push each other through those tough moments.
And there are other players that have been through that injury as well, and you can take strength from them as well, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. Like girls from different clubs calling me when I actually did my knee to say that they was always there throughout my rehab and asking questions. Like, I enjoy talking about it now because I know that it wasn't easy, but looking back at it wasn't as hard as everyone said it would be. There was obviously moments where I felt like absolute shit. But there's times where you feel great, and no day is the same, and that's what I enjoyed about it. There was one day where I could feel really bad, and the next day I felt great. So yeah, those days, maybe looking back, I felt really bad because I was like, why did I feel okay yesterday and I didn't today? But yeah, I think when you overcome that, you accept that you're going to have tough days, but they shape you for where I am now, back on the pitch.
And what do tough days and good days look like when you're in rehab?
I think even like just getting on the watt bike and keeping your fitness, things like that you can see it as you're hard done by, but no, it's shaping you for when you're back on the pitch with the team, and you need to obviously stay fit throughout. But also days where your knee is really sore or really stiff and things like that. So I think or a day where you can't do an exercise and you don't know why, but you just can't do it. And you go home and you're just so frustrated with yourself. And I just always wanted to be able to do that. So I would go home and try and but some days I just need to accept that my knee wasn't ready, and it will be ready when it is ready. So yeah, just accepting that your body takes time to heal, and listening to the professionals, the nutritionists, just taking everything on board really. But there were so many difficult times where I just sat there and cried, and you do feel worthless because all I know is playing football, and then you go from that to just by yourself in a gym. It doesn't feel like you have any worth, and that was difficult for me. I just sit and cry and 3 o'clock in the morning, and it is difficult, and people probably don't realise that goes into your rehab, but yeah, it shapes you definitely.
And how did you pick yourself up during those bad moments? How did you sort of get yourself motivated again, I suppose?
I just think I can't dwell on it. It's happened, and if I sit here and cry, I'm not going to get anywhere. I need to be able to push on, and it's down to me. No one else is going to be putting that work in, and if I don't put that work in, my knee suffers. And yeah, I think that was the toughest moment for me, just accepting that. And I think I really just thought, I have to, I have no other choice. But yeah, there was times where some days where you don't want to come in, but then you come in, you have a great group around you, especially at the first part of my rehab where I spent a lot of time here. But then you also, when the results aren't going your way, and you just want to speed up the process so you can maybe try and say you're fine when you're not. And yeah, just accepting that you're on your own journey. It's not about what everything else is going on in the background.
And it can be really hard to go from a team sport, having that banter every day, that camaraderie with the girls, and then, as you say, at parts of your rehab you are just you in the gym, and especially being outside of the CFA as well. So it can be quite lonely as well, can't it?
Yeah, you feel really isolated, and I think as a manager, Gaz really looked after me in those moments, like didn't allow me to feel that way. But there are moments where you feel isolated, you don't feel part of the group, but as soon as you are back in with the girls, you feel that. I felt like a new player coming back in, and it is great. But you accept that there are going to be difficult times, and I look back and I think, yeah, it was difficult. In the moment, it felt more difficult than it was, because everything seems so much harder because you're not yourself in that moment. And I remember there was times when I was speaking to my boyfriend or my mom or my dad and saying, like, I just want to be myself, like I just want to be Chloe. But you have to accept that you're not going to be in that moment, because it's such a huge thing, like not playing your sport or not being able to do your day job. And that was the toughest thing for me. It was like, everyone, like, you go to work each day and do your job. If that's taken away from you, how would that make you feel? And yeah, it's not being able to do your job is really difficult. So yeah, it's just finding the positivity, around it, even when there are tough moments, just being positive and having positive people around you.
It is more about the mental side of it, isn't it, rather than the physical in that kind of situation?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's throughout this rehab, it's been the mental side of it that's been the toughest, and the physical. Of course, at the start of your rehab where you're going through it, it's the physical where you're in so much pain, but the mental side is, for me, I know I've done everything that I can to put my knee in the best possible position. So I'm past the mental stage now of the scared. I don't feel that, because I know I'm ready, and that's why it probably did take so much time, because I wanted to make sure I was right and ready. But yeah, of course everyone deals with it in different ways, and I just seen it as a challenge that I need to overcome to be the player that I want to be.
I suppose in some ways that bit at the end where you're back on the grass, back in training, but you keep being told just maybe the next game, that's probably the hardest part in some ways, because you're impatient to get back on.
Yeah, for me that was probably one of the most challenging, because you see light at the end of the tunnel, and then you can't see it because you're like, when is it going to be? And you have like little setbacks. There was times where my knee just swelled one day, like I never had swelling for months, and then my knee swelled, and I was like, why? Like I feel good. But yeah, I think it's just listening to your body in them moments and listening to the people around you. But yeah, it's done now.
And that feeling where they finally said, Chloe, you ready? You're going to be in the matchday squad again. That must have just been the best feeling ever.
Yeah, it was brilliant. But even then I was like, I've been ready for ages, like, because that's how I feel. I was like, I've been ready ages, like I know I'm ready. So yeah, it was relief really that I could be. But that's when you know you are ready, when you're like, I've been ready ages, like I know I'm ready. So in terms of my knee, I know I'm ready, but I just need to like get minutes now and keep pushing on.
But you had to be sure, and they had to be sure as well, because of the nature of the injury. The worst thing would have been to go back too early and then suffer a setback, as you say.
Yeah, of course, and that's just in me. Like I just want to be playing, and I just love playing football. So it could be seen as like Chloe's just excited to play, but because I know I've experienced every moment throughout those 11 months, I know my body. Although like the physios, of the professionals and everything, but I said to them, I know I'm ready because my knee feels good. I feel good. I'm so confident in my knee. But of course there's fears around it, and that's why I think I'm so much mentally stronger, because I'm like, I don't have those fears. So I say to the physios, don't be scared. If something happens now, it's bad luck, because I've done everything. So yeah, that was a challenge that I had with the physios, but obviously they found it challenging with me, because it's a bit of a back and forth, because when you do feel so good, it is a difficult time. But I only felt like that because I did put that work in.
And then that game at West Ham, when you were back in the matchday squad, back in the warm-up before the game, I bet you were just itching to get on, being on the bench. I bet you couldn't wait to get on.
Yeah, it was great. I was just literally looking at the clock the whole game. I couldn't really tell you what happened before that. But no, I did the warm-up in a couple of games, 2 Everton games before that, and it was just like, it was great to be in the warm-up, but you just like go back and have a shower, get changed, watch the game, and it's like, I could be on the bench, I could be coming on. So yeah, those moments are probably the hardest, because you're like, it just feels like there's a string being dangled with, and it's just like, yeah, it's difficult, but they're the professionals and you have to listen to them. But yeah, you have to build the relationship as well, because it's about listening to each other as well. So yeah, it's great to be back out there, and thankful for the staff for doing so much throughout my rehab, especially the doctor, and having those tough conversations with me.
And Gareth said that the players made it a bit special for you after the full-time whistle as well. So what was that like?
Yeah, it was great. It was great in the huddle after the game, just like a little mention. And yeah, it's brilliant. As I say, just enjoy being back with the group, because you do spend so much time away from them. So you just appreciate all the times that you have together. And I don't want the season to end, to be honest, because it's just, I feel like I've come back and this nearly over, but it's the exciting part of the season now.
And they're thrilled to have you back. And that's what being a team is about, isn't it? Supporting each other in those moments and celebrating when good things happen. It's not a case of, oh, Chloe's come back, so that means I'm not getting in the squad anymore. It's, you know, you're a team, you're together, aren't you?
Exactly. And I think that's like the biggest thing with me. I enjoy seeing people do well. So yeah, throughout my injury, it's just about supporting the girls, but them also supporting you. But yeah, I don't see the other wingers as like competition. If they're doing well, it's brilliant, and it could be seen as a bad thing because they are your competition, but it's great to see other people do well, and I feel like that's just in my personality, that I do enjoy seeing others do well. But yeah, I just enjoy being on the pitch with them.
Thank you very much, Chloe.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and thank you to Chloe for being so open and honest. We really appreciate her taking the time out to chat to us. Don't forget to download the official Man City app to keep up to date with everything going on here, including a rather important match at the Etihad on Sunday. Until next time, take care and look after one another.